Hello everyone, this is my first video in the Python beginner series. Today we will look at Python installation, Python data types and Python variables. So for using Python, let's first install it. For installing Python, we have to go to its official website, that is www.python.org. After going to this website, just go on downloads and according to your platform, choose the correct Python version for yourself. As in my case, I am on Windows, so I will go for it. Now, I will not install it as I have already installed it on my PC. After clicking on downloads, you will see an exe file will be installed. Just run that file and go through the installation process and you will be ready to use Python. Just a note here that during installation you will see an option like add Python to path. So make sure to check it so that you will not face any problems in the future. Now, after installation, you will see an icon like this. So just go and open it and you will see that a window will pop up like this. Now, from here, we can run our first Python program. So let's just print hello world. Print hello world. World. So here we can see that we have run our first program. But this window is more like a console. So we cannot create a program from here. We can only run it by line. Or what do I want to say that we can only run a single line of code from here. So to create a program, just create a new file by pressing Ctrl plus N. So as you can see here, a new file will be created. So before going ahead, let's just save it to our Python beginner folder. So in my case, it is in C drive, in this folder, here, then here. So let's just name the file. We will name it tube1.py. Let's just save it. Okay, nice. So now we will talk about Python data types. So there are basically four Python data types that are integer, float, string, and boolean data type. Now let us look at them one by one. So what is an integer data type? Integer data types are nothing but integers in Python. What do I mean by that? That is 1, 0, minus 5, minus 5, 6, and all the integers. So this is Python integer data type. Now, what is float data type? Float data type is nothing but decimal numbers in Python. For example, 2.5, 3.5, 3.5, 5 point minus 5.6, and so on and so forth. Now coming to the string data type, a string data type is anything that is enclosed between quotes. Quotes can be single or quotes can be double quotes. If we take example here, we will create now we will create a string name as hello world. So here we can see that we have created a string name as hello world. Since it is between quotes, so it will be considered as string. Similarly, we can create this string using double quotes like this. So in Python, both will be treated as same string. Now, what is the use of single quote and double quotes? For example, if you want to use single quote in your string, then you can use double quotes for creating your string. For example, we can write something as this. Now, this single quote will be considered as part of the string as we have created our string using double quotes. Similarly, if you want to add double quotes to your string, then you can create it using single quotes. So if let's just repeat the definition of string data type in Python. A string data type is anything that is enclosed between quotes. It can be a number, it can be an integer, it can be a float. Now, if we see here, 1 is an integer, but since it has been enclosed between quotes, so it will be considered as string. Similarly, if you look at example here, 2.5, so 2.5 is considered as float, but since it is between string, sorry, it is between quotes, so it will be considered as string. Okay. Now coming to the last one, boolean data type. Boolean data type is a special type of data type that contains only two values, that is true and false. So in Boolean data types, we cannot create our own values. There are only two values, that are true and false in Boolean data type, and that are predefined in Python. That means they come built in with Python. So we will look at Boolean data types in further coming videos in detail. Until then, just keep in mind that there are only two values of Boolean data types, true and false. Now, you might have wondered that true and false are being highlighted by orange. This is because they are Python keywords. Python keywords are special keywords that come with Python built in. They are used for special purposes. So now I want to give you a little bit of exercise so that you can brush up the concepts that you have learned so far. So let me just give some example here. Python programming, Python programming, and the third one will be like this. We can have this 5 and like this. We can have the last one like uh, this. So now pause the video, go ahead and solve this example and try to solve them by yourself. Now let us look at the correct answers. Here we can see that this thing is been enclosed between quotes. So anything that is been enclosed between quotes will be considered as Python string. So it will be considered as Python string. Coming to the second one, let me just write the data type. Now coming to the second one, as we can see here, it is written true. So some of might you have thought that it is a Boolean data type, but it's not the case. Since it has been enclosed between quotes, so it will be considered as string. So this is also an string data type. Now coming to the third one, as we can see here, it is false, and that is a Boolean data type. So it is a Boolean data type, and that is a simple one. One is an integer, so it will be considered as integer data type. Coming to this is a decimal number, and in Python, decimal numbers are nothing but float data type. So it is a float data type. And again, this is similar to the someone like this question. So as we can see here, it is enclosed between quotes, so it will be considered as string. And this is an boolean, since it is not enclosed between quotes, and it is true, so it will be considered as string. Oh sorry, it will be considered as boolean data type. Coming to the last one, it is a decimal, but since it has been enclosed between quotes, so again it will be considered as string data type. Now, having said that, let me just erase it and let's just have a look at what are Python variables. So, you have heard of variables earlier in mathematics. Similarly, we have variables in Python. For example, the most common variable in mathematics we use is x. So, for example, we say x equals 1, 3 or 5, like this. Similarly, in Python we can also create variables. For example, we can create a variable in Python like x equals, and then we can give its value. If we want to give a value of 6, we can give it 6. So now we have created a variable whose value is 6 and its name is x. Similarly, we can create variables of different names. For example, I can create a variable named var, and I will give its value as a string. So it will be a string. Here we have created a variable named var which stores a value of string, that is hello. Now we can if we want to see the value of variables created here, we can simply use print like this, and give in the parentheses the name of the variable print x and print var like this. Now let's just run our program. For running the program, you can press function plus F5 key or just F5 key, whichever works for you. So let's just press enter. Here we can see, as we have given the first command as print x, so it is giving us the value of x, that is 6. And the second one, similarly the second one, we are asking for the value of var variable, that is a string, and that is hello. So it is giving us the value as hello. Now, there are some rules regarding the names of the variables that you can create in Python. So the first one is that you cannot create a variable in Python that have name equivalent to a keyword Python keyword. As I have said earlier, that is a a Python keyword is a special variable, special variable that comes built in Python that have special functionalities. For example, we cannot create a variable named true, or we cannot create a variable named false because they are keyword. Now, if we try to assign some values to false, let's see what happens. So if I press enter, it will give us an error. So from here we get that we cannot create a variable that have name equivalent or similar to the name of a keyword. For example, there are lot of other keywords in Python. You can go to the Python website and search for them. For example, for, in, is, or while, and so on and so forth. Now, the second rule is that your variable name cannot contain spaces. For example, I cannot create a variable like, let me just delete this. I cannot create a variable like uh, var 1. If I try to do it, let's just see what happens. So it says invalid syntax. So in spite of spaces, we can use something like underscore. Now if we see, the program runs easily. Let's just print its value so that we can make sure that the variable has been created. So press enter, we can see it is giving us the value of var1 as 5. Now the thing is that you cannot use any special character in your variable name except only underscore. So now coming to the last and third point, that is, your variable name cannot start with a number. It can contain numbers in between its name or at the end of it. For example, I have created var1 here, var and then underscore 1. So the one coming at last in the name of the variable. If I try to do something like 1 and then var, so the Python will throw an error. But if I just put this one somewhere in between here, then it will be fine. Now it is giving us error because we have not updated the print statement. Let us just update it as va1r. Now if you will look here, everything goes fine. That is giving it is giving us the value of the variable we created as va1r. So I think I would end the video here. If you guys like it, make sure to comment, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.